Alright everyone, we're back at it again with some more of Umineko, aka When They Cry, aka, again, When the Seagulls Cry. I don't know how to say that in another way, but let me just say right now guys, in this part of the video we get some semblances of a break. Like the animosity and the fights finally toned down a bit, and we get a little bit of a, I guess you could say, a grace period, and it's a nice one at that. There are some nice some music that's composed that I like. One of them is called Hope, and it's like, to me, it's the equivalent of Fata Morgana's Giselle. I love both of those soundtracks so much right now, and well, you're gonna hear it soon enough, guys. So if anything else, hope you all continue to enjoy. Thank you all for the love and support, and let's keep it rolling. Alright everyone, we're back at it again.
びっくりしたぜ。
大したことねえよ。心配すんじゃねえぜ。
Beads of sweat covered Jessica's whole body, and she couldn't hide her rough breathing, but it looked like her sudden attack had calmed down for now. This disturbance had left the room's hostile atmosphere in an awkward, unsettled state. But that was fine. There was absolutely no need to be driving up everyone's suspicions of each other. When you think about it, even probing at each other's alibis and searching for the killer were probably completely unnecessary. After all, we're just powerless ordinary people. And when the police come tomorrow, they'll definitely employ cutting-edge techniques and investigate the case thoroughly. Solve all of the riddles and arrest the killer.
確かにバトラ君の言う通りかしら。夏日姉さんが疑わしいように、私たちも疑わしさを拭えていない。
Well, I mean, you're only doing this now because Battler pointed it out. You know, originally you would have preferred if it was just Natsuhi that was the guilty party.
それを今議論し合うのは確かに不毛ね。明日、警察に全てを任せれば済むだけの話よ。でも、バトラ君だって知りたいんじゃないの？犯人を。大切な人を失った痛みを思い知らせてやるために、1秒でも早く知りたいんじゃない？
それは否定しないです。これだけの上等を決めてくれやがった野郎を。たとえ1日であったとしても、のさばらしたくはない。でも、だからといって、18人の中の誰かを疑いたくはない。さっきはああ言ったが、俺は、エヴァおばさんだって疑いたくない。俺にとってのエヴァおばさんは、茶目っ気があって、いつも楽しくさせてくれる最高のおばさんだ。そんなおばさんと、こんな罵り合いはしたくねえ。ここにいる誰だって、そんなことは望んでねえはずさ。だろ？みんな。
バトラ君に同じ。意味のない罵り合いだね。多分、これだけの人数が朝から一ところにずっと集まってるから、みんな。
でしょうな。無理もないことです。言ってできるものではありませんが、なるべく皆さん、リラックスしましょう。
エヴァ、わしらも頭を冷やすべきとちゃうか。レシートの件は確かにお父さんの失踪を探る上で重要な手がかりになると思うで。警察が来たら話すといいやろ。
そうね。そう。レシートの一件で、つい鬼の首を取ったような気持ちになっちゃったのね。確かに夏日姉さんだけを疑うのはフェアじゃないわ。私たちだって等しく疑わしい。でもね、バトラ君。レシートの話だけは本当よ。これ、忘れないでね。そしてこれがどういう意味を持つか、もう一度よく考えてみてね。
Auntie Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi stood up. It looked like they planned on leaving the parlor.
結局私たちはこんな推理ごっこしても意味はないのよ。だってどうせ警察が全て明かしてくれるんですもの。
That's right. Even if we don't play this detective game, when the typhoon passes and those lively seagulls return to the harbor, everything will settle itself. Yes, if you think about it, this kind of crime is completely trivial. It will definitely be resolved. I wouldn't call this crime trivial at all. Your family died, man. Even if we do nothing, when the seagulls cry.
これ以上夏日姉さんも私の顔を見ていたくはないでしょう。私も同じよ。確か姉さんは昨日ゲストハウスに帰らなくて済むようにって客室を用意してくれたのよね。あそこはバスもトイレもあるし、鍵もチェーンもかかる。
See, in my opinion, this is a bad idea. I have a feeling now that they're gonna go their separate, well, not necessarily their separate ways, but now that they're gonna live in like a separate area, it's still near their mansion, but it's still far apart enough for them to possibly get murdered, and then guess what? We're back to square one suspecting someone else again.
横になれるベッドもあるし、主人もマリアちゃんとチャンネル争いをせずにテレビを見ることができるわ。お好きになさるといいでしょう。でもくれぐれも用心を。ありがとう姉さん。そして余計なお世話よ。姉さんはみんなの監視をよろしくね。犯人はこの中に必ずいるんだから。そして姉さんも自分が監視をされていることをお忘れなく。捨て台詞はそれで十分ですか？ええ、十分よ。じゃあね、夏日姉さん。源氏さん、夕食になったら呼んでね。それまでチェーンをかけて閉じこもってるわ。源氏、かの、お二人を客室までお送りを。結構よ。送り狼なんて嫌だもの。むしろ私たちが部屋に行くまで誰もこの部屋を出ないでくれる方が安心よ。ジョージ行くわよ。
僕はここでみんなといるよ。
ジョージ、この部屋に犯人がいるのよ。そんなところにいるつもり？
この部屋を出るということは親族の誰かを疑うのと同じことだよ。僕はあんな恐ろしいことができる人間が親族にいるなんて信じない。
ジョージ、あなたからも言ってやってよ。
ジョージももう一人前の男や。そのジョージの仁義がこの部屋から出えへん言わせるなら、それも勝手やろ。好きにさせたれ。
父さん。
Auntie Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi left. The only voice that called after them was the sound of the rain. The parlor was being buried beneath the savage atmosphere. When I looked at the clock, I was surprised to find that it was already evening. Have we really spent that much time worrying, talking, fighting about such needless things? Feeling bored, I started clawing at my head when Maria and I made eye contact. Since I had thought she was completely immersed in the TV, I was a little surprised.
今なら信じるぜ。手紙も殺人もすべてベアトリーチェの仕業だ。いや、むしろ頼むからそうだと名乗り出てほしいぜ。19人目の仕業ってことにさせてくれ。じゃなきゃ俺たち18人はいつまでも互いを疑い合わなくちゃならねえ。これなら19人目の存在を信じる方がマシさ。扉も窓も開けずにじいさまを外へ連れ出すなんて、ベアトリーチェならお茶の子さいさいなんだろう。
Maria, after taking a single short breath, hung her head, and then raised her face again.
そうだよ。魔女の前に扉の鍵なんて何の役にも立たないんだよ。ベアトリーチェは72柱のすべてに精通する。33位のガープは望む相手を望む場所へ瞬時に運ぶ力を与えるし、彼女にとってどのような密室に閉じこもった人間だろうと連れ出すことは難しいことでも何でもないんだよ。
魔女はすげえな。
She needs to get some therapy, man, or something, because this is just disturbing.
頼むから。もしまだ事件を起こす気なら、絶対に人間には無理なことをして、俺に19人目を、いや、魔女の存在を信じさせてくれよ。
いいよ。あったら伝えておくよ。
Damn it. I don't even understand my own thoughts anymore. When I'm led to believe in a 19th person, I deny it. And when I'm led to believe that there are only 18 people, I deny that too. Even though I wish that there were more than just the 18 people here, I can't accept the existence of that 19th person. In short, even though there are more than 18 people, there are less than 19. The number of people in this mansion is 19 greater than X greater than 18. So the number of people can't be represented by an integer. However, it's impossible for there to be anything after the decimal point. You shouldn't be able to represent the number of people with anything but an integer. And yet, 19 greater than X greater than 18, why does a fraction less than 1 play into this? It's no wonder. That 19th person is an invisible being that can't be seen. That's why in the integer representation that must be used to describe numbers of people, she can't be seen. That witch cannot be seen. Because Beatrice has no body. Therefore, she's invisible. Is there a 19th person or not? Does the witch exist or not? 19 greater than X greater than 18. The witch exists somewhere in that X. I was waiting for that glass to shatter. I'm getting the hang of when it starts doing that. Oh, that's how much time passed already? Gosh, now it's 7. The two who are close. The uncomfortable atmosphere continued even after those two left. It would stick with the idea that thinking about who the killer was would be the same as deciding who to doubt. It had begun to feel like discussion of the incidents was itself taboo. So no one was mentioning it, at least out loud. However, those thoughts were what filled our minds. All that we couldn't say aloud made our heads feel like they were going to explode. So at least on the outside, the parlor had once again regained its calm mood, though everything was left unsettled.
少しだけ雨足が弱まった気がするね。
おー、まだいっぱい降ってるよ。おー。
仮に止んだって、この島には船がねえんだしな。船が明日すぐに来てくれりゃいいんだがよ。洋館バカンさんもうお腹いっぱいだぜ。
母さん、明日船はいつ来るのかな。
本来なら帰りの船は今日の3時に来てくれることになっていました。先方も台風が過ぎてから出直すと電話をしてくれたでしょうが、あいにく電話は普通ですから。でも向こうも子供の使いではありません。客人の方々の送迎目的だと教えてありますから。おそらく明日の朝一番で、多分9時頃に来てくれるでしょう。
It was completely black outside. When I looked at the clock, I realized that it was just past 7. I was starting to get hungry. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was cooking enthusiastically. She had laid out a variety of dishes, and while they didn't match the level of Goda's artful cooking, they were still quite gorgeous. It was an act of kindness from Kumasawa, trying to use food to enliven everyone's low spirits. Kumasawa wasn't nearly as talented as a professional cook like Goda, but she was far from unskilled. On the contrary, since she had been brought up in a fishing village, the simple food she created was sometimes very highly valued. Kanon arranged the food Kumasawa had finished creating on plates under her direction. Kanon also helped in the kitchen sometimes, but since he was rarely placed in that role, he was slightly awkward even though he tried his best. Self-conscious about the fact that he couldn't skillfully arrange the food, Kanon's expression darkened slightly. But Kumasawa smiled to say everything was fine.
きれいに盛り付けられてますよ。カノン君もお上手ですよ。
シャノン姉さんだったらもっときれいに。
Kanon stopped arranging the food for a bit and hung his head. Shannon... Oh, wow. I'm pronouncing it the Japanese way, Shannon. Shannon was the one who always assisted Kumasawa in her cooking. Tonight, Kanon was doing it instead. And as he remembered Shannon's face at her brutal end, he grimaced.
今は忘れなさい。
Genji spoke kindly to Kanon as he advanced upon. Nanjo had escaped from the parlor once the mood had become sour, and Genji had become disappointed in a game of chess upon Nanjo's request.
はい、今は
それがいいだろう。
Genji purposefully faced away from Kanon as he spoke. He did so because he understood that it might make things tougher on Kanon if he noticed that someone was looking at his eyes. Nanjo also understood that and held back any thoughtless words.
金蔵さんもどこへ行かれたんでしょうな。ご無事だといいのですが。わかりません。ただ、すべては親方様が望まれ、仕組まれたことのように思っています。それを邪推することは、親方様にお仕えする家具には過ぎたことです。源氏さんは怖くないのですか？私には今夜まだ何か良くないことが起こるような気がして怖いのです。
I am half expecting that too, guys, especially to Ava and Hideyoshi.
怖いことなど何も。私はただ後ろ宮家にお仕えするだけですので。
Nanjo sighed through his nose and made a carefully considered move. Nanjo was very slightly dubious. Could Genji possibly think that he would be left out of this? He couldn't begin to imagine what was happening inside this mansion, but he definitely couldn't deny the possibility that it was something of Kinzo's design. If you liken this island to chess, Kinzo had opened the game and as a result, 6 pieces have fallen. Could it be that Genji was calm before he believed that he alone was outside the chessboard and safe? Nanjo thought about it. Wasn't everyone just a piece in this chessboard lined up equally without any exceptions? Wasn't even Genji who had gained more of Kinzo's trust than anyone? No, wasn't Nanjo himself, although proud of his position as Kinzo's only close friend, just another one of the pieces laid out on the chessboard?
源氏さん、私は今夜が本当に怖いのです。無事に明日の朝を迎えられることを心より願っています。
The guest room that Ava and Hideyoshi had moved into was used to house guests before the guest house had been constructed. So until a few years ago, they had stayed in this room every family conference and were very familiar with it. This room, just like a room at a hotel, had a bedroom and a bathroom. So even though they were still shut in, it was far more comfortable than the parlor.
やっぱり家族だけだとリラックスできるな。他のみんなも客室にこもって鍵をかけてりゃええんや。
夏日姉さんが客間を出るなって威張り散らしてるんだもん。誰も口答えなんてできないでしょ。あの人、ずーっと冷や飯を食ってきたから、兄さんが死んでやっと天下が来たって張り切ってんのよ。まったく、ずうずうしいったら嵐の。
まあ、そう言うな。 夏希さんもあれで結構頑張っとるんやで。お前もそう突っかからんでもええやないか。さっきのレシートの件も、あそこまでは言い過ぎやで。
だってん。あそこで言わなかったら、もう言うタイミングがないんだもん。
Ava sulking cutely sat down beside Hideyoshi, who was lying on the bed watching TV.
でも、こうして二人きりになるのはずいぶん久しぶりよね。
そうやな。思えば、わしもお前も老けたもんや。ジョージが生まれてから何もかもがあっという間や。
本当にあっという間よ。子供を作るの焦りすぎたかしら。
Ava's eyes looked like they were staring off into the distance. Yeah, she had thought it once in a lifetime a chance. Her older brother Kraus had been unable to have a child for quite some time. 6 years passed after his marriage to Natsuhi without any signs of pregnancy, which didn't please Kinzo at all. As for Ava herself, she would be removed from the Ushiromiya register anyway once she got married, so whether a successor to the head was born or not, it was all the same to her. So she had thought. But then one day, she had a heavenly revelation. Or maybe it was the whisperings of the devil that she had heard in her greed. Perhaps she could remain in the Ushiromiya register if she gave birth to a successor first. If things went well, perhaps she could even inherit the Ushiromiya family herself. When she proposed this to Hideyoshi, he approved of it instantly. This had not been because Hideyoshi also had greedy thoughts. For Hideyoshi, who had no close relatives, it was a chance for him to feel once more that long-forgotten thing called family. So he agreed, without hesitation, not to fuss over which family name they were to keep upon getting married, and assented to having his name entered into the Ushiromiya family register. It wasn't easy to persuade Kinzo, but as his daughter, Ava knew Kinzo's personality well. So she chose the time when Kinzo was most dissatisfied with Natsuhi, and expertly managed to make him accept Hideyoshi as a son-in-law. Looking at Hideyoshi, who had achieved success after starting from nothing, Kinzo might have seen a little bit of himself. He quickly grew to like Hideyoshi and permitted him to transfer into the Ushiromiya register. George would eventually become the successor to the Ushiromiya family. They had raised him strictly with that purpose in mind. George had been worth their while and had grown into a fabulous young man who wouldn't disappoint no matter where he went. That was why she couldn't stand that he was in love with a servant like Shannon. So when she had learned that Shannon had died and the engagement had been invalidated, while part of her had been shocked at the gruesome crime, another part of her had been relieved that her precious George wouldn't be stolen by some servant girl. That's pretty selfish.
私、クラウス兄さんのことが昔から嫌いだったわ。偉そうで威張ってて。自分がやがては当主になるのだと自慢してて。だから、それに一矢報いてやりたかった。でも、それは子供の頃の感情なのよ。でもその感情は、結局、自分の人生のほとんどを支配した。それだけならまだいい。その感情は、あなたやジョージまで巻き込んで振り回してしまった。
エヴァ、備え自分を責めるな。
These two are gonna die now. Now that we're seeing the softer side of them, you know what I mean? They're in the... What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say they're trying to Professor Snape them. Trying to have us see the good in them, and then finally, boom, dead. Like, nah, whatever. I don't like you guys. I don't like these two. Or at least Hideyoshi's okay, but Ava always had this scorn, this snake-like personality that I wasn't fond of to begin with. And now that she's showing her softer side to get us to sympathize with her, I'm not feeling it as much. Like, if this is a foreshadowing for these two to die, then whatever. Hideyoshi sat up and put his arm around Ava. She could feel a warm understanding from him.
わしはな、自分の人生はもうとっくに折り返しに入っとる。でもな、今日までの生活を後悔したことは一度もないで。一度もや。エヴァと一緒で他の男どもじゃ味わえん楽しい人生になったと思っとる。戦争で身寄りを失ったわしにもう一度家族のぬくもりを教えてくれた。だから後宮の家には感謝しとるし、わしの唯一の家だと思っとる。わしとお前が歩んできた人生にな、無駄なことなんかなんにもなかった。今日までほんまに楽しい人生やったで。
ありがとう、あなた。
Ah, yeah, these two are gonna die. Ava hung her head, burying her face in Hideyoshi's chest. Probably no one in the parlor could even imagine that this side of Ava
感謝
existed.
するのはわしや。今日までお前と一緒にいて後悔した日なんてあらへん。
私もよ。あなたと一緒になれてよかった。
ジョージももう立派な大人や。わしが見張ってなくてもしっかり仕事ができる一人前や。で、正月あたりをのんびりモルジブあたりで過ごさんか。わしら二人水いらずや。
いやよ。毎年年賀状の返礼で寝る暇もないとか言ってるじゃない。
次の正月だけはなしや。年賀状は見ん。黙って下のお年玉くじだけチェックするんや。今年はカラーテレビくらい当てたいで。
やだ。モルジブでお年玉くじのチェックなんてしたくない。
じゃあそいつもなしや。水いらずのんびりでジョージが生まれる直前の新婚時代の続きをちょいとしてみんか。
それならいいわね。
モルジブはええとこらしいで。なんもない島に美しいサンゴ礁と水上コテージが並んでてな。
新婚時代の続きっていつからなの？
仕事納めしたらすぐや。旅行店に聞いてみんとわからんが、多分大晦日前には。
いや、今すぐがいい。
Peevishly, or maybe coquettishly, Ava pled for his lips. The only sounds that filled the room were the distant voice of the announcer on the news which Hideyoshi had left on, and the obnoxious pounding of the rain against the window. There was a knock on the door and Genji-san entered.
奥様、お夕食の準備が整いました。お食事はまたこちらでよろしいですか？
ええ、ここへ運ばせなさい。南條先生はまだ厨房にいるのですか？
はい。次の一手を熟考したいとおっしゃっております。ご安心を。他の使用人たちとご一緒です。
源氏さんはじいさまの相手ができるくらいチェスが強いもんな。南條先生よりも強いらしいぜ。
そうなんだ。昔相手をしてもらったことがあるけど、あれは勝たせてくれたのかな。
マリア、もうすぐ飯だそうだぜ。しかし、よく一日中テレビを見ていて飽きねえな。
うん。いつもテレビいっぱい見てるから平気。
ええ、マリアちゃんはテレビっ子なんだね。
食事だから机の上を片付けないとダメだぜ。
It was still cluttered with the aftermath of the drawing contest we had all been having, using several pages torn out of Maria's notebook. Jessica began cleaning that up quickly. Still, everyone here sure can draw. Really shocking.
源氏、エヴァさんたちにも、せめて食事くらい一緒にしないかとお声をかけなさい。どうせ断るでしょうが。
Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we're probably going to see Hideyoshi and Eva dead. I'm predicting it right now. I'm calling it. I feel like that's going to happen. And if anything else, we're going to continue on in the next one. So thank you all for watching.